Hello? This is Alex speaking.
Modern men often take the choice of a suit or a car more seriously than the choice of a life partner. As a consequence, more and more marriages end in divorce and children grow up unhappy. While I can't recall the exact source of this statement, it certainly reflects the reality we see today. Nowadays, the main cause of divorce is often the infidelity of one spouse. Although society tends to strongly condemn male infidelity, especially from the perspective of women, the reason for it is quite simple: unsatisfied desires. However, when it comes to female infidelity, which is not universally condemned and is often justified by other women, intriguing questions arise. What motivates a woman to be unfaithful? Rationalization and the need for variety. It is usually because her husband does not see her as a woman, does not love her, does not satisfy her intimately, etc. The root cause often lies in the lack of love, the absence of those very butterflies in the stomach. When a woman commits adultery, her logical thinking is turned off. She does not think about the consequences and lives, focusing only on her feelings and emotions. In my opinion, a woman's infidelity has more serious consequences than a man's. A woman's infidelity can destroy everything: the family union, the mood of children, husband, and even parents. But most importantly, she destroys her own soul. All cheating is united by the fact that they are sooner or later revealed, and most of them end in the same way. Very rarely it is possible to build something new from the ashes. It is practically impossible to create new happiness at the expense of close relationships torn apart by grief. After some time comes the second phase of betrayal, an attempt to return to the family. I love only you, I was a fool, I cannot live without you. The words sound, but the result is different. Some accept the unfaithful spouse, others do not. However, regardless of the outcome, true happiness rarely returns to such a family. I married my sweetheart when I was only 20 years old. She was my age, and our future family life seemed simple and cloudless to me. Our love story was typical. We met at a friend's birthday party, dated for almost a year, and eventually bonded in marriage. She was the first woman I fell head over heels in love with, as they say. When my parents expressed doubts about our upcoming wedding, I said I would pack my bags and just move in with her. Long story short, we got married. A year later a son was born, and 3 more years later a daughter we named Olga. I really deeply loved her, and over the years this love only grew stronger. I had no reason to suspect her of infidelity, because she never gave me reason to doubt. I trusted her completely, not burdening our relationship with jealousy. Like any couple, we had occasional disagreements, but they never turned into quarrels. We always managed to find common ground quickly and make peace. That's how we lived for 17 years. But then everything changed for the worse. Olga suddenly became irritable, quarreled over nothing. She radically changed her appearance, dyed her hair brunette, although she knew that I did not like it. She bought new clothes and perfumes. My wife began to stay late at work regularly, making frivolous excuses. Our intimate life was on the wane. Such changes in our family life could not have happened without a reason. I began to reflect, and it became clear to me that it all started after the reunion. Something significant must have happened at that reunion that caused such a profound change in my wife. I was acquainted with some of her former classmates, so I discreetly approached them to ask about this gathering. From them I learned intriguing details about my wife's past. It turned out that in 10th grade Olga had a romantic relationship with a classmate named Sasha. He was quite a handsome young man and enjoyed great popularity among his peers. After school, life separated them. He moved to another city, where he eventually married the daughter of the director of the factory, and they had a child. Olga grieved for a while and then married me. So they lived separately in different cities until Sasha was transferred to our city and their paths crossed at that fateful meeting. They reconnected, and their old flame was rekindled with renewed vigor. In fact, it was quite an ordinary situation, which is quite common. Things progressed predictably from there. They slept together the same evening and, it seems, could not stop. Olga was looking for any reason to spend time with her lover, inventing a disguise that even a secret agent would envy. Now I knew the name and address of her lover. All that remained was to catch them in the act and put an end to this chapter. I confess, I felt truly pathetic. My love for Olga was intertwined with a feeling of disgust. The realization that another man had entered my wife's life left me with no hope for our future together. However, before making a final decision about the fate of our family, I decided to talk to my wife first. I asked her a direct question about her lover, and she responded with a dramatic and exaggerated tirade. She accused me of all sorts of misdeeds, most of all of ruining her broken life. The gist of her argument was that I was not only a scoundrel who had ruined her life, but that I dared to question her honesty. Ah, the capriciousness of women. I waited a couple more days, and one evening, when my beloved was once again delayed at work, I decided to go to the address where Sasha lived. He opened the door himself, and when I asked about Olga, he simply nodded toward the kitchen. Olga was sitting on a stool with one leg crossed over the other, smoking. When she saw me, she seemed to flinch slightly and stated angrily, "Why have you come?" I love him. Just like that, without any preamble. In fact, everything became very clear to me. However, I made one last attempt, trying to remind her about the children. She stated that the children would stay with her and her new love. However, she reluctantly agreed to let them stay with me temporarily until they got used to their new life. I had neither the energy nor the desire to continue this conversation. I informed my wife that I would not discuss the subject any further, that our conversation would be the last and that I would initiate divorce proceedings myself. Olga turned away, as if to make it clear that this was not the end of the matter. I quietly left the apartment, went down the stairs, and the concierge opened the front door for me. When I went outside, I was caught in the drizzling rain, lifted the collar of my coat, and began to stroll through the wet streets. That evening remained in my memory. It was the last evening of our marriage with Olga. My heart and soul throbbed with pain. Perhaps I shouldn't have given up so easily, I should have fought for her return. But you told me that it was useless, that she wouldn't come back. I saw before me her empty, indifferent eyes, the eyes of a stranger. An unbearable fear seized me, and I began to bite the cuff of my coat to stifle the cries of despair that threatened to break out. When I got home, I explained to the children that their mother had gone on a long business trip. I had not yet decided to tell them the truth, although I realized that sooner or later I would have to do so. However, my son asked me if Mom had gone to another man. I nodded, he hugged me tightly, and we spent the whole night together. The next day I filed for divorce. 2 months passed and the divorce proceedings were still not finalized. We were given time to reconcile. The children lived with me, and all this time Olga was in no hurry to introduce them to their new dad. And then there was a classic twist. One evening my ex-wife came to see me. She said that she left her Sasha because, as she put it, she realized that she loved no one but me. Forgive me, I'm a bad person. Do whatever you want with me, just don't send me away, please. I listened to her silently and explained that her ex-husband had disappeared in the evening at his mistress's apartment. I also said that I would not interfere with her meetings with the children, but I would not live with her anymore. Olga looked at me with tear-filled, inflamed eyes. In them I saw the pain of remorse and her past love. Gathering all my remaining strength, I managed to keep my composure. And Olga left. In the evening of the same day, she took an overdose of pills, trying to poison herself. But a neighbor found her and called an ambulance. Soon Olga was discharged from the hospital. Now she lives with her parents. She called me several times and apologized to me. Her mother came to see me at work. She also tried to persuade me to forgive Olga. But I was adamant, although my heart and soul hurt so much that it was impossible to express it. I still loved her and realized that I would never be able to love anyone like that again. Now Olga lives with her parents. She regularly comes to see her children and tries to establish some kind of relationship with me. I hope that I will forgive her and we will be together. Yes, maybe I would have forgiven her if I hadn't loved her so much.